What if Nintendo already announced all of their big games for 2022? What if there's nothing that we don't know about the year yet, and the announcement simply stop? If we take a look at everything already announced, we can see that the year is basically complete. There's a Pokemon game, there's games to fill spring and summer, a game for a more mature audience, and finally the big hitter to end the year. Has Nintendo ever done a year with much more than that? Well, recently we had one of the best years in Nintendo's history in 2017. Not only was a new console launched, but a lot of fantastic new games were added to that console's library. It felt like something too good to be true. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games directly from Nintendo's EPD's internal teams. After that, the Switch had some solid years, but definitely nothing that could match the variety and quality of 2017 in my opinion. The thing is, 2022 is looking very promising. Actually, maybe there's too much promise. If Nintendo has more to show in 2022, then they can really surpass 2017. But why would they? The Switch is a tremendous success already. Different from 2017, they have nothing to prove here. The console is almost guaranteed to surpass 100 million units sold in the next financial results. They are basically swimming in money right now. If they start to release all of their big guns in 1 year, wouldn't that be a waste? I mean, we all know Nintendo takes a while to develop a new game for their main franchises. The sequel to Breath of the Wild is proof of that. So it's always a benefit for them to space out their releases. There's no reason for them to waste more big games in a normal year like 2022. That's right! Thank you, Dor.
No problem at all, man.
2020 was definitely not a normal year, 2021 was not also, and 2022 is a continuation of that trend but in a different way. Maybe what we'll see this year is an accumulation of releases thanks to the pandemic situation that we've been watching since 2020. The big games are finally coming out. What makes me think that is the fact that during 2021, Nintendo announced a lot of games for 2022. I don't see that as usual behavior for the company, which is now to announce their products very close to launch with rare exceptions. The big game of last year, Metroid Dread, was announced like 4 months before release. But now we are entering a new year with a crazy amount of games in mind, and I start to wonder if maybe a lot of them were in the later stages of production with enough to show in trailers but couldn't be released until 2022 thanks to the special circumstances that the world fell into. But there's more than only that. As I said before, the Switch is selling fantastically well, to a point that Nintendo doesn't need to worry about rushing games to launch. However, the Switch is also entering a pivotal moment in its life. The console is close to 5 years in the market now, and the sales number will start to inevitably slow down, as it happens with any console. Nintendo can try to mitigate that with new and exciting software, giving a new life to the console and attracting even more buyers. Take a look at the Wii. After reaching a peak in 2009, we saw a huge decline in other years. Maybe Nintendo could make that graph more similar to something like that. It's the perfect moment to do that. With the new generation receiving a lot of new games that won't be available on the Switch, Nintendo needs to provide even more exclusives to their console. I'm not even referring to direct competition here, but I think in this generation it's very common to see 2 consoles in people's households, and Nintendo wants to guarantee that one of those 2 consoles is a Switch, because the other 2 guys are offering more similar kinds of experiences. Let's say that you are a huge Xbox fan and you play all your favorite games on Game Pass and all of that. But then you hear that a new open world Pokemon game is releasing on the Nintendo console. There you go. You end up buying a Switch. Of course, this is one example only. There are other reasons to buy a Switch for different kinds of people. And more than that, I think Nintendo is in a special position right now that they can actually do a package year like never before. Since the Switch's launch, all of Nintendo's development teams are focusing on a single machine instead of the usual 2. And we've been witnessing the benefits of this for a while now. Receiving mainline Pokemon game is one of them. But I still have the feeling that we didn't see that in full force, and maybe 2022 will be that year. Because here's the thing, they can clearly announce more for 2022. We are in that moment in the cycle of development that studios are probably working on a project for 3 or 5 years now. A project from Monolith Soft, something from the Mario Odyssey team, something from the Mario Kart team. I don't know, I won't try to predict because I'll probably end up wrong, but I'm pretty sure that we didn't see everything that Nintendo has planned for the year yet. Also a note, I think all the topics that I discussed in this video could also point out to another hardware revision of the Switch with a substantial upgrade in graphics. But that's a territory with a lot of uncertainty, considering that the OLED model still is very new and the shortage of chips is still being a major problem for tech companies this year. So, answering me from the past. What if Nintendo already announced all of their big games for 2022? I don't think so. Maybe a big amount of them, but not all. Nintendo still has a lot of reasons to keep the Switch interesting and they have the resources to do that. And if in the worst case scenario no new games are announced, 2022 still ends up being a great year. Oh hey! It seems that the video is over. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, let's have a fantastic new year. Bye!